It's a picture of a snapshot.
It's a picture of a snapshot.
Okay, before we get back into the pictures, we get to the Cliff Edom event, which is always very difficult to go. A couple of things I want to do. First of all, for a decade, this has worked well here because of Stan Lost.
Yes.
And all the effort that he puts forward to lift up photojournalism. So if you'll alert me.
And Terry, who has suffered through this longer than me, with me, longer than that with me.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to run it from here. We're going to go take this program and send it down to Athens. From Athens to Athens.
On a midnight train.
On a midnight train to Georgia. But in the meantime, those of you who managed to come here and work your way through, you still have a lot of work to do. But before you leave, we want to present you with an Ohio University coffee mug. Something you should all have to remember that this time
Going to Athens.
the contest is moving to Athens, Georgia.
Thank you.
We're at 10 years, we're going to Greece.
When we get done with we've got 3 categories to go, which is kind of chunky. We're going to tackle the Cliff Edom, which has a single winner. We will do that next. After we've finished with that, we will adjourn to the OUN to the Grapes of Wrath. No, it's not Grapes of Wrath. Bunch of grapes around.
Bunch of grapes.
Grapes around. Bunch of grapes.
That's because Ohio University was originally founded at a tavern in Boston called the Bunch of Grapes Room by a group of Presbyterian ministers.
We were hanging out at the bar.
Yeah, who were hanging out drinking.
I got an idea.
Okay, Cliff Edom competition. Stan will read you the rules. Cliff Edom's very important in my life, apart from introducing me to my wife about 5 decades ago. Cliff is the person who established what photojournalism was about. The Edom family, Vi and Vimy, absolutely wanted to start an award at the NPPA for the New Americans Award. This is a single award winner. Almost inevitably, without exception, it is a one portfolio event. That's what makes it so tough. So you all have your work cut out for you. Stan, you want to take over?
Sure.
Read the rules and let's go from there.
Who said we've been staying awake?
You asked us to narrow it down last
Yes,
night.
yes we did.
One.
Yes.
You did?
No. Hi. Welcome to
Nashville.
Welcome to Nashville. I would think it would be lovely to be in Nashville. We're not currently in Nashville, but we were looking at pictures from Nashville moments ago, which is, we've been at this a while. Hi. Welcome to the National Press Photography Association Best of Photojournalism Still Photography Contest. We're here at the Ohio University with our esteemed judges, including Sue Morrow, Guy Reynolds, Nikki Kahn, Michael P. King, and Brad Smith. We have a team of volunteer students, faculty and staff from the School of Visual Communication that are here helping the judges select and celebrate the best work in this field from the past year. The judges have reviewed every entry prior to coming to campus. They narrowed their selections. We have pooled their selections into what's on the screen behind me and what we will walk through. We are now to the NAA category, and I will read you the definition. In urban communities and rural towns, the spirit of diversity is celebrated and witnessed in everyday life. Our goal is to recognize award-winning photographic storytelling that focuses on communities, diverse groups, and issues in America that are often undercovered in the media. Acknowledging the genius and effectiveness of Cliff Edom's vision, approach, and passion for teaching, we ask you to contribute your interests, which is what people did. Just as a word of reference, Cliff Edom, who passed away in 1991, began his experimentation in photographic education in 1943. His purpose was to provide access to the community life of the small town and local communities for photographers so that they could hone and develop photographic skills. What we have are a group of entries. We will select the best. So we will walk through these as we have the others. We've cleared, I believe, all of the markings, and we will walk through each entry, and then we will get your feelings on that, please. So let's start with bombs in our backyard. I'm sorry, my mistake. Would you read the first caption on the first one? So just help us remember. We've been through the material before. I just want to help us remember what this is about.
The very explosive compound, RDX, that helped America superpower is today contamination in the nation's water and soil. America makes more bombs than any other nation, and any surplus or old stock is burnt off at open burn sites across the country.
Okay, thank you. Votes on this one, please. We have 3, please. Let's start with the caption on this one, please. I'm sorry, I can't do that with the previous one.
Young Marines recite the Pledge of Allegiance during the opening of their annual ball. Students attend with their families and close friends to celebrate the accomplishments of their fellow cadets. The Young Marines are a nonprofit organization with around 10,000 students enrolled nationwide.
Thank you. So we're walking through this one now, please. Okay. Votes on this entry, please. Thank you. Can we see the caption for the next entry, please?
8 members of a Syrian refugee family landed at Tampa International Airport on January 23, 2017. 4 more members of that family, the Al-Saloons, arrived January 26. The next day, President Donald Trump signed an executive order halting the entry of Syrian refugees like the Al-Saloons and citizens of 6 other Muslim-majority nations.
Okay.
here, please. We have 2 votes here, please. Thank you.
President Donald Trump is sworn in during a live broadcast of the inauguration as Denny Reed from Wright. Doug Dickman, Scott Riley play cards at the Sawmill Saloon in Prairie, Wisconsin. Hundreds of counties across the country, predominantly in rural areas, voted Republican for the first time in decades, suggesting there was something about Trump specifically that spoke to those voters in a way no Republican had before.
Okay. Votes here, please. Thank you. Next entry, please.
For Colorado, Lakota Douglas rushing to button down out trailers as a dust storm forms on their 40 acres in the San Luis Valley. Though always hoping for rain, the clouds and high winds stir up the loose sand in this arid country where the rain mostly hits on the other side of the surrounding mountains.
Okay. Votes here, please. 4.
Brothers Theo Patrick Johnson III, 11, Chad Johnson, 8, and Jacob Ryan Johnson, 7, play porch basketball at their home in Indianapolis's near west side. We ain't got a basketball rim, Theo said. We play this way all the time. Maybe children on Indianapolis's near west side had less than suburban kids, less luxury, fewer opportunities, and more struggles. But I kept going back and noticed that in this neighborhood, there were always children playing together outside. They made something out of nothing, sprawling imaginations, trump technology and material things.
Okay. Votes here. And 1, please.
Boys team huddles around Ryan Shera, Yala soccer director. Yala, which means let's go in Arabic and stands for Youth and Leaders Living Actively, is located in El Cajon, California, one of the largest refugee communities in the United States. The center combines soccer with academic support to inspire refugee and immigrant youth to achieve a college education and rebuild their lives.
Let's hear. One, please. Two, please. Sorry. Two.
The last refugee. Through the closing door, a year ago, 8 Syrian families fled the violence of their homeland and immigrated to Greater Boston. They were among the last such refugees allowed into the United States as a result of the Trump administration's multiple efforts to ban immigrants from certain majority Muslim countries, including Syria. To smooth the transition, Jewish Family Service of Metro West launched the Syrian Refugee Humanitarian Project, working with Jewish synagogues, Islamic centers, doctors, dentists, businesses, and an army of volunteers to provide safety, hope, and a new life to these immigrants. Out of the 12 families scheduled to arrive, only 8 made it to America before the travel ban and Trump's administration's lowering of refugee numbers halted the process.
Votes here, please. 4, please.
Detroit is a study in contrast. That contrast is the basis for the debate about 2 Detroits that has surfaced frequently in recent years, including the Guardian newspaper from London, which described Detroit as a city both collapsing and gentrifying at the same time. Detroit also is the most violent and poorest big city in America, 2 data points that represent widespread human suffering that is often swept aside in the new Renaissance narrative. In 2007, reporter Bill McGraw wrote, "It's worse than you think, but better too." He was referring to Detroit after a 2,700-mile road trip where he never left the city, driving every one of Detroit's 2,100 streets and writing a series of stories published in December 2007.
Okay. Okay, votes here, please. Thank you.
In the 1980s, the steel industry that built Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and still dominated its economy entered a death spiral. Now, 30 years later, the city has survived its deindustrialization. The small towns where the majority of the region's steel mills were located are still struggling with unemployment, a decimated tax base, and a crumbling infrastructure. These towns are the suburbs that helped make Pittsburgh an industrial powerhouse. Driven by an influx of foreign-born workers at the turn of the 20th century, immigrants helped build jobs in the mills where steel was forged for the aircraft and battleships that helped win 2 world wars.
Okay, votes here, please. Thank you. Next entry, please.
American Midwest is reeling from an epidemic of opioid addiction. For years, doctors were encouraged to prescribe narcotic pain medication like the highly addictive Oxycontin. No pain is opposed to managing pain was the goal. As more and more people became addicted, prescriptions started to dry up and addicts turned to the cheaper and more available heroin. In the last 5 years, American overdose deaths involving opioids nearly quadrupled, with much of the increase driven by synthetic opioids, such as fentanyl, a drug that is often cut with heroin. In few places are the magnitude and the pervasiveness of the crisis more apparent than in Middletown of Ohio.
Votes here, please. 1, please. Thank you.
Tyshawn McFadder's father, Andrew, died on March 5, 2017 after being shot while in his car close to his house and outside Tyshawn's school. He was one of 6 gunshot victims that were shot on Wheeler Road in Southeast DC in the span of a week. Tyshawn 8 spent his time between his father's house with his grandmother and his home in Oxon Hill, Maryland with his mom.
Votes here, please. Thank you. Next entry, please.
Documenting a historically African-American section of the United States Capitol ahead of a wave of change. Since moving to Washington, D.C. in 2001, watching the city's changes has been like watching the subtle shifts of my own face. I can't imagine my chin without heavy sprinkles of gray hair or my eyes without wrinkles when I smile. Likewise, it's difficult to imagine the South Capitol corridor before National Stadium was built or Yards Park in the Navy Yard. As time passes, these areas offer fewer and fewer clues of the land and personal character those neighborhoods had when I arrived. This has been that era when D.C. lost its chocolate city status as the population of African Americans has remained steady while the city's overall population has grown.
Votes here, please. 1.
A procedure room in the closed Whole Woman's Health Abortion Clinic in Austin, Texas, shortly after the Supreme Court of the United States 5-3 ruling on the Whole Woman's Health versus Hellerstedt case regarding Texas's House Bill 2 on June 27, 2016. This is one of many abortion clinics to close across the state because of House Bill 2.
Votes here, please. 2.
Staff Sergeant Ashley Butch, an instructor with the 338th Combat Training Squadron, pictured in front of an RC-135 jet on Thursday, February 2nd, 2017, at Applet Air Force Base in Bellevue, Nebraska. For years, Staff Sergeant Ashley Bush hid the fact that she was transgender, a situation that until summer 2016 was not allowed under U.S. military rules.
Votes here, please. 1, please.
Shaquila Davis 5 of Flint sheds a tear while playing outside with her sisters after a day at school.
Particularly last one, just in case you know very short. Thank you. Okay. Votes here, please. 2, please.
Is it back to the summaries?
Do a command L. This wasn't too much.
Sorry. Would you like me to read it, or?
No,
You can scan it if you haven't already.
Tell me when you're ready.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
votes here, please. I have 3.
America's Puerto Rico. Irma Maldonado holds her birth accessory as she walks amid her devastated home after Hurricane Maria ravaged the island. She maintains a hopeful, vibrant spirit in the face of great loss. Puerto Rico is America, yet the people went without most assistance for weeks after the hurricane, getting by neighbor helping neighbor and holding on to faith, hope, and a resiliency of spirit amid the rubble of reality.
Votes here, please. Thank you. Can we look at the 1 stars and above, please?
Do you want to see them all on the screen at the same time?
No, we don't need to do that. It'll be okay.
We're going to get
That's
real
fine.
little.
No, that's fine. Let's go to the top for just a moment. So this is where you had a lot of agreement. So looking at those two, the refugees and living off the grid in Colorado, and scroll down please, for the Native Americans living with a nuclear test site, and then we've got bombs.
The bombs.
Yeah. Thank you. Trying to punch into it. After that, there's not a lot of agreement. We're headed for 1. Not to cut off conversation about 1 stars, but if you were the only one, recognize it.
Well, let's look at the 1 stars. They're lower.
We just cruise through them really quickly, though,
Yes.
well, relatively quickly, the 1 stars,
Look at
see if there's something.
Well, let me do one better than that. Unintended. Let's start with the 2s, and we can go forward from there. That'll be a lot easier.
If you want to start at the bottom of the 2s, and go up.
No, start at number 2s. This is where, right there. The green, no, right here.
That's the end of this one story.
We're going to go from there to the bottom of the page.
Okay.
So we're looking at them backwards as we go through, but just running through. 1001, 1001, 1001. Beautiful stuff, but you're going to have to get a unanimous group going here. Just
Plus Guy.
Yep.
And there is no H on here, right?
No.
Just
There's
one.
no second.
There's,
There's no second. There's just one.
there might be a third, but no. It's okay.
Just one.
Let's do it.
Yeah. No, this
This is the second story.
This is the abortion.
Almost the third story.
Good.
That's
the immigrants and,
Helen.
yeah. This was the other immigrant story. Syrian refugees into Tampa. Transgender Air Force.
Next story.
This was the DC story.
Next story.
Middleport, Ohio, opioid.
Next story.
Kids finding fun.
Things to do with that resources.
Indian.
Detroit?
Indian.
Indianapolis. Thank you, sorry. This is not a refugee.
Next story.
Yeah, it's off the grid in Colorado.
I think we're back at the
Are we back
Yeah.
to top?
I think we're back to
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say, I thought I remembered. Are we ready to let go of everything
Below.
below, two and below?
Yeah.
Okay?
The only one I really liked
Yes.
was the little girl running through the grass field. It had the woman with the blue glitter lips. I think it's the first one. That story
Yes.
there.
Black Girl Magic.
Yes.
Is that the
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
Yes.
But this would rise to the top of knowing everything else you have and only being able to pick one.
Yeah.
I don't know that it does.
Just recognizing communities with diversity and
Mhm.
underreported issues, yes.
I think it's got beautiful qualities overall and
That was the one that I was.
Put a
maybe
third
gonna
star on that, please, and let's look at three and
Use
above.
my lifeline.
Well, with that in consideration. So how many do we have now? Just do
three
the,
Three and above.
thing,
Five.
thingamabobs. Oh, those in the second window, please. You know, those bluish things, and rectangular.
that shouldn't have any impact. I like the octopus one, I think.
pop open last refugee first. Okay, please. Looking for a second. What works about this?
Well, you talk about community
Yeah.
and diversity. You have one community of diversity reaching out to another community of diversity that are typically not on the best of terms in a global sense, and helping in an incredible way. And this is a community coming together. Some really strong moments. This was one of my top ones.
Can you do half screen with that? And let's start with that one,
This one?
on Poison Land. Pop it open big.
All the way.
Yep. This is Poison Land. What works here? Yes. Can you say that louder?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I found the photographs to be incredibly rich and more of like an essay quality. It took me through it, and I want to know more about these folks, and it's someplace we don't normally get to go, so it is very underreported, and I really appreciate this for that quality.
Okay.
To jump on
Please
yours, it's rich, it makes me want to know more, but I also come away with an understanding of the issue.
Thank you, yes.
Can we split screen? Perfect. Yep.
Oh, don't make me do this.
Yep.
Sophie's choice.
Not a lot of roll, but it's not roll.
You're making us be King Solomon here.
It's so hard to get access for the story on the right.
Would you hit the sort by and notes within this window, let it sort by file number?
But they're flipped, they're flipped.
Yeah, that's reverse.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. That helps a little. Okay, so, talk to us, Brad.
I like the one on the right, I have to say, I'm drawn to that one, to the caliber of the photography. I think it's pretty, as they said, rich. I think I can't think of a better word for that. I mean, I like the story an awful lot, but I
Absolutely.
like one on the right.
Guy, what do you think?
I didn't have either one of those in my top two, but I'll tell you why. On the one on the right, there's two of the type of pictures that I dislike in a strong way, and that's one with somebody posing with pictures of somebody else, and then the other is with a guy on the couch right above that, and he's reacting to either the photographer talking to him or the reporter by implication. It's not a natural picture to me, where everything else is very quiet, active, nice moments. The other two seem forced.
Okay.
And where the one on the left, nothing's forced. They're all nice, active pictures without relying on a portrait of somebody holding pictures of loved ones.
So you're leaning left today?
Well,
In this
of
moment.
these two, yeah, but I still
Okay.
have two. that
No,
are
we haven't
above
gotten there
that.
yet. We've been on. Sue, left or right?
As far as story and narrative, the one on the left rises up for me.
Okay.
You've got their arrival, you've got the community coming around to help them, you've got them at the first day of school, you've got cross-cultural activities. Photographically, there's some issues for me, like way too many tilted horizons. and a lot of wide angle lens use. It's almost like it was done almost all the same lens. So that's problematic. But narrative-wise, it is really good.
Okay, so you're leaning left.
Yeah.
Okay, Nikki?
Yeah.
I like the storytelling elements on the refugee story. And I know access is difficult on the one on the right, but there's just so much there that I think you could have gotten a lot more intimacy.
On the right?
On the right. It looks a lot like the photographers dropping in on these people to me.
Okay.
It just
But between the two, left?
left.
Okay, can we just pull that window down?
This window.
Yep, just pull it down. Pop open the one right over here. Yep, there you go. Side by side here. This was off the grid in Colorado.
That to me has more impact.
What do you think, Michael?
I strongly disagree. This story did not resonate with me. When I think about the category, these folks have withdrawn from a community. They're a community of themselves. And I guess I didn't understand the point of the group of pictures. What's the narrative? Just that they are off the grid? And why does that matter?
To add to what you're saying, I photographically I like it, but
Yeah.
I'm afraid I bring some of my own biases to this with the treatment of animals, and so I have to like shed that for a moment. And it's like Michael said, they're removing themselves from the community to become their own entity or commune, and to me it doesn't fit the Cliff Edom
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
qualifications.
I felt the same way. I mean, individually, I loved a lot of other photos. It's a total train wreck, the entire community. And but at the end, I go with Michael. This is not.
So we're still on the left?
Category. I'm on the left between these two.
Okay, let's pull that window down, please. Slide that over. Let's open up Bob's in Our Backyard, please. Hard. Very little hard. You've done a great job.
Yeah.
Between these two, Mark.
On the right. The one on the left is kind of all over the place to me, narrative-wise. I understand what the story intended was. It doesn't get to that for me.
Okay.
I like that a lot. And the fact that it's all over the place is what makes it even stronger for me. It's not all just in one place. I will say that I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but when you open the captions on these photos, this photographer had an agenda. Yeah. And in the tags, called these people rednecks, hillbillies, white trash, and it's like, that's just not right. I'm sorry. I like the pictures. I don't like the fact that this man or woman had an agenda and went out to, knew what they were trying to show in Virginia or West Virginia or whatever. But I think it's a really strong set of photos from, like I said, like 4 different places in a topic that I'd never heard of or thought of before. Is, you know, what happens with all these munitions we've been making for decades and decades and decades of the people that have to live among these areas. Okay. And then going back to the right one here, Michael said that he thought this was a topic that's not covered, and I keep thinking about a t-shirt I saw in one of the other ones, that if this doesn't bother you, you haven't been paying attention. We've been covering refugee stories forever, and especially now. In every community, if you're not covering the refugees in your community, you're not doing your job right. And I see these stories all the time. I mean, clear back when the Hmong moved here in Minnesota in the 1970s or whatever, and the Vietnamese boat people in South Texas and Louisiana, So I don't find that as groundbreaking that we're following a refugee family. I like it, but I don't know whether it rises to the top.
Okay.
I didn't look at the captions on that. That's really concerning.
Can we open
photographer's
some of
eye.
those up? I didn't pick up that either, but I did read
Because
some of the captions.
if that is the case,
Well,
to me, that's disqualified.
Yeah.
Unethical
You gotta look
grounds.
at the keywords. Hillbilly, hillbillies, hillbilly.
Well, these are
But wait,
keywords they're
context.
using
Let's
within,
do context.
we don't know the context that it's in.
Because I didn't pick that up I mean, I read a lot of these captions, but I didn't,
I mean, does it say like they're commonly referred to as
Like
hillbillies,
this
or does
red
he actually
man,
say
blah,
they're
blah, blah.
hillbillies?
I don't see it mentioned in themselves.
They're just keywords.
They're keywords.
That's completely different than they used it within the context that they got.
did you remember reading it within a caption? or
No,
did
no,
you
no, I said I didn't read it in the caption, just
Oh,
in the
okay.
keywords.
just the keywords. I think that's different.
It's completely different, to me.
I feel like it's different.
so left or right? Fred?
That capital photo, the guy in the capital is like the worst photo I've seen since I've been sitting in
Yeah,
this room.
that's true.
So can I interpret that to mean right?
You can.
Michael?
I'm still on the.
Nikki? Sue?
I'm out.
Okay. Can we drag down? Can we pull up? Like real magic?
When we just went through this and I saw each one individually slowly, I liked it more and more as it went through it and told the story. I loved the picture of the girl running through the grass.
I love the lips.
And the lips are terrific. There's a lot of detail. There's really no reason for the swimming pool photo, but it's graphic and beautiful. Goes within the whole just a lifestyle. I mean, a slice of life is what I meant to say. Type of moment. I just thought it was a really wonderful story, really beautifully told.
Can you run through them again, Dave?
Sure.
I'm disappointed there wasn't like an introductory summary
Mhm.
on it, but that said, and I don't know if that's disqualifying, but
No,
that said,
it's not
the collection of pictures, I understand what the point is. It's about young black women building their esteem and their power within their
I mean,
community.
that picture right back there in the swimming pool says like everything
Oh, yeah.
that little kid has to go through, probably for the rest of her life, right there. Hi, I'm different, and I'm sitting over here. That beautiful picture of the mother and the daughter, or mother and child, whatever. I've seen some great selection of photographs, and it's really a strong story. Much stronger than I gave it credit for when I first cruised through it.
Left or right, Sue? Oh.
Left.
Just to be fair, excuse me, one second, just to be fair, can we go through the one on the right, large, one last time?
Sure.
Just to be fair.
And I've got a question.
Absolutely. What's the question, Sue?
Did we lose the family of Yala from?
Oh, we haven't
Yeah.
done that yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go.
Left.
We went through y'all and
Eliminated it.
and
did?
dropped it down. Yes,
Okay,
did we?
good,
Sorry.
thank you.
I don't remember that.
We've got these two,
I'm leaving left.
leaning left. Sue, left or right?
Hang on, I've got.
I'll come back to you. Got it, left or right?
Left.
Left.
Oh, thanks.
Nikki,
Left.
left. Michael,
Left.
left,
That-
left.
Wait,
Can we
that's-
Also
drag
good.
Can we
It's also
drag?
good.
Follow me now.
Following you.
Make it kind of small,
Okay.
and then just lift the small one up, just so that we can, I want to make sure that we've got just the titles and make sure we haven't missed something.
Would you like me to lift all of them up?
Yeah, just in little small ones. Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. So these were the contenders.
And we have
See,
a couple
I
hidden.
like the image set of images on off the grid.
so that when we do a screen grab, we have, here's where the contenders, and here's what we say is the winner.
Okay.
Yes,
It is for me.
Yeah.
yeah, as a body of work.
And
That's
within the
beautiful.
description of the category,
I'm proud of this story.
it's a beautiful story.
Beautiful use of lenses, a variety of lenses, not
Yes.
just a wide angle lens.
It's a
That pull and tug, nice use of color, and it's just a nice body of work. Considering I didn't like, considering it wasn't my topic.
Yeah.
Put a bow on it.